Hello, my sewing friends. This is Friday Sews. I'm Jen, and this is my sewing room where I have been very busy this week. My table is full of all kinds of things that I want to tell you about. So we're going to jump right into the sewing. And I got to tell you, it's been a week of highs and lows. A lot of problem solving. You know, isn't that what sewing amounts to a lot of the time? It's problem solving. It's that you have this puzzle and you have to put it together, or you have this vision in your head of how something should look or feel or be when you're done, and you have to make that happen. You have to make that vision or whatever it is come to life on your sewing machine. So, you know, sometimes you win, sometimes you don't. I was going to say, sometimes you get the sewing. Other times the sewing gets you. So I had both happen this week. Well, let's talk about one win, and then we'll talk about some problem solving things. So the win was Butterick 6208. I have talked about this before in that I wanted to make it a nightgown out of some a beautiful sheet that I had, some beautiful fabric. And oh my gosh, what a win. I am so pleased with this. And I feel like it is some of the best sewing that I've done recently. I followed the instructions. I actually read the sheet instead of just looking at the pictures. Well, okay, I looked at the pictures a lot, but mostly I read. And I got the tucks in the front, which by the way are not pin tucks because you sew them at 1/4 of an inch. You can't do it with a pin tuck foot, but I sewed the tucks. I did that placket. I did button loops. I did the buttons. It turned out fantastic. I even found buttons in my stash where I had like 40,011 buttons. And I found some. That never happens. Well, anyway, it turned out wonderfully. So I can tell you that this is a good pattern and that it's not hard to follow, but it would take not just an advanced beginner. I think it would take a little more than that, like a beginner intermediate sewer, because, you know, it's got a few things in it that you have to take into account. It says easy. Yeah, no, this is not easy. If I were an advanced beginner, I'd be floundering trying to do this pattern, but you can get great results if you've got somebody to coach you along, someone that you can ask questions of. You would be okay then, but turned out fantastic. I'm so happy with it. Okay, let's move on. Once I finished that, I thought, okay, let's go back to my commitment to myself. I don't know that I've told you about this, but I am committed to getting my UFOs handled. I'm just, the box is full. I can't shut it or shove anything else into it or push it into the cabinet anymore. So it's, yeah, some stuff has to be done. So I had Vogue 9357 in there. This is a beautiful dress, and I made this one, and I made it out of the top of a duvet cover, which I had to undo from the bottom, and it took some doing because there were little sections of stitching where I had to pull the stitching out, and this was an older duvet cover, so there are places on the fabric where it doesn't look great. Okay, so you know, I was basically calling this a working muslin. And the problem was I made it and then it didn't fit. It was too small. So I went in and I made all the seams down to, you know, like 1/4 of an inch or even less at some points. Still didn't fit. So I took it out and, you know, I stuffed it in the bin, and then I took it out and I thought, all right, let's think this through. I could put a strip down the back out of the lining fabric, which is this fuchsia. Oh, that'd look cool, wouldn't it? Yeah, not so much. Then I thought, well, I could dress it up with a zipper with brass teeth and make that a feature. And I couldn't find a zipper. And so I thought, all right, back to square one. So I did get some more fuchsia fabric, thinking, well, I'll just deal with it. I could put a zipper in the side, like an invisible zipper. And then I could put that piece in the back and just kind of make it, again, a design feature with a fuchsia. Then I thought, no, I tried it on my dress form and I didn't like it. So I took it apart again and I thought maybe it's the waistband. So I used the lining of the waistband, which is again in the fuchsia, to look at that and say, okay, well, maybe that ought to be out of, the waistband ought to be out of the fuchsia. No, because the waistband is dropped and it goes from about the place where your waist hits down to the top of your hips. It just wasn't flattering. And I thought, well, that's not going to work. So I put a strip up the back. Well, what I did was cut the excess off the hem, and I used that for a strip up the back, which was kind of a pain, probably because of the way I did it, but I wanted to just fold it over and, put it on as a band, basically, and then sew the zipper in between. So it's kind of got this chevron look to it, you can kind of see, which, yeah, great idea, huh? Yeah, we like that idea, except that the band, I didn't account for the fact that the top of the dress fits me. It's just as we get down to the waistline, I should have just graded it out to the bigger size. I don't even know what size I cut. I think it was a 16. I should have graded the waist out to an 18, but I didn't. And so I have no more of this fabric, and this looks terrible because the top of it doesn't fit. And to be honest, last night, I was just done. I thought, all right, I have worked with this and worked with this and worked with this. It's not great fabric to begin with. I'm tired. I'm tired of this. I'm tired of it. So I tossed it. I don't ever do that, ever. But the fabric was the clincher. I probably would have worked with it some more to get it to fit if I had really been committed to it. And I was. I mean, clearly, I'd tried all those things. But you know what? It's not worth it. It's not worth it because of the quality of the fabric. And it was just a working muslin. So into the trash it went, and it will stay. And that's sad because it's a beautiful dress. But, I think I can try this again with different fabric, quality fabric, good fabric, with no flaws. And I know what to do now. So if I want to try it again, I can. It is a beautiful dress. It did look good on me, so I may do that. But for right now, this pattern is not going to be put away. It's going to be put in my little wicker basket over there of things that I want to sew next. So that was a challenge. Next challenge was Simplicity 9641. This is a new pattern. I don't know if it's still in the books, but it's relatively new. I just liked it because I liked all of the style lines. I just thought there's so much going on there. You can kind of see from the line drawings in the back. And it was very reminiscent of a Marcy Tilton dress that I did. It's my zipper dress. And, I just thought, oh, that looks cool. Well, here's the thing. I didn't realize, I look at the models and I think, oh, yeah. I did not notice how short this is. This dress on me is tunic length. There is no possible way that I can make this a dress without having cut it longer, and I didn't. And I used some just calico cotton that I had, which is this purple. I wasn't wild about this once I got it going. But I thought, okay, maybe I can make that work. And what bothered me was you couldn't see the style lines, of course you couldn't. So I top stitched them in the purple, and that helped. But then I put it on and I thought, this takes a band at the bottom to make it long enough. And I thought, okay, well, it's kind of a top. I didn't want a top. I wanted a dress. And I'd only gotten this far. I mean, I don't have binding around anything. I don't have buttons. I don't even have the front placket on. And it's a button front. I was going to make it sleeveless, I think. No, you know what? I was going to make it with these small sleeves right there. You can see them. But no, I don't like this fabric enough to mess with it. I did, I put this, well, I took this and I enlarged it on my printer and printed it out and drew it with another band on the bottom because I do have enough fabric to do that. And I didn't like that either. I thought that just looks stupid. That looks like, oh, it wasn't long enough and you just added a band. So you know what? That also went by the wayside. I thought, no, I don't have time in my life to make clothing that doesn't work. I don't want to spend this much time on clothing that doesn't work. I want to make things that are beautiful and that turn out. And I don't want to have this many fails in a row. So this pattern, you can tell the tissue is in there. You know, I never do that. I always do this. No. So that went by the wayside also. Actually, that went first. And because I had done that, I had the confidence to do the other one. So 2 fails and a win. You could say that's 1 step forward, 2 steps back, but, you know, I don't think that. I think, okay, sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, let's move on. So I got a bunch of stuff out here on my table. The first is Vogue. This has got that display number on the outside. Vogue 2783. This is from the early 2000s, and I love this dress. This pattern was given to me by my friend Trish. Now, I don't have any fabric for this yet because I do want to go with something dark, maybe with a little bit of a tone-on-tone kind of pattern. It does call for broadcloth, so I could go with the calico cotton. And I love all these piped lines. And this is a separate belt. So, yeah, I want to do this, but I don't have fabric yet. Even out of all the fabrics in my stash, now, I just don't have anything that I think is going to work. Although I will say I was looking last night and I was kind of down about the fails. So I will have another look or two and see if I can find something appropriate for this. But I will also say that I tend to buy light colored fabric because I like light colored things. And I live in a place that's sunny, and on a sunny day you need to wear a light colored fabric. So working on that. That's the wheels are turning with that one. I also have over there in my little basket, whoops, there's an extra piece of it, Simplicity 4675, and this is from the early 2000s also. And I just like the dropped waist on this. This is just a little sundress. And I think if I were going to make it, I would make view B with these big box pleats. Well, also don't have fabric for it yet. I wasn't up to looking last night, but I think, if I'm not mistaken, I had this pattern in a smaller size and I knew it wasn't going to fit. So I found a bigger one and then I put it over with my other thing, you know, get to that soon. Don't have fabric yet, so I'm working on that. Thinking it through, you know, thinking I don't want to really buy fabric, but I'll have to think about it. Also over there was McCall's 7016. This is, gosh, is this from the early 2000s? Yeah, it's 2014, so it's not that old. I guess it's almost 10 years old, but I like it a lot, and I want to make this one. Now, this calls for knits, and this is a tricky one because I don't know that I want to go, what's this? All I can think is omnicolored monotone. I don't know that I want to do that. I think maybe I want to make the shawl collar on this out of a contrast. So knits. I'm thinking Ponte. What does this call for? Sweater knits, cotton knits, interlock, and double knit. So Ponte would be in there. Yeah, something of a Ponte weight. And, you know, even going with what they've done here with like a print and then the solid, I like that. I like that a lot. But I just think this is going to be an interesting one to get to fit me because it's going to need to be loose enough that it doesn't grab all the bumps and bulges. So I'm going to need to be careful, probably do a muslin because, you know, that's the smart thing to do if you don't want to fail. So that is turning in the works. I also have one last one. I have Simplicity 8057 and McCall's 3473. Okay, let me start with 3473. This is old. This is from 1987. Okay, I got this, and it's too small a size. It's a 10. No way I'm fitting into a 10 anymore. I did when I was 25, but no more. See this sleeve? Is that not gorgeous? That sleeve is just stunning. It does have a cuff with a button at the bottom. It is a 3/4 length sleeve, as you can see here. Beautiful. Now I kept this pattern. I had to look at how the sleeve was constructed. And if you look here, it's made so that it fits into a princess seam that goes up into the shoulder rather than the armhole. A lot of princess seams will come down out of the armhole. This one comes up out of the shoulder. So I thought, okay, I can take that sleeve and put it on something else, but it's going to need to be something with a princess seam that's coming out of the shoulder. Well, I also have Simplicity 8057, and this is from, why do they make this hard? I think probably the 1980s or 90s. I always think it's the 80s and usually it's the 90s. So I love this. I love the lines on this, the way that front comes down like that, because that is so flattering. I don't care what kind of figure you have. If that is going to come down like that, that's going to draw attention to your rib cage and draw the eye down like that. It's going to make you look like this. And I think that's so flattering, especially flattering on me. I know my own body. So I really would like to do this one, the long one. I may not end up leaving it long. Who knows? You know, you try these things on and you go, oh, no, that looks terrible, or, oh, that's beautiful. One of the two. But important thing about this, it's got that princess seam coming down out of the shoulder, which you know what that means. That means I can put this sleeve into this dress. Now, this dress is simple enough with the lines that it's not going to detract from this gorgeous detailed sleeve. So I really want to mix these two. Now, once again, fabric. What am I going to use? Because the dress calls for soft fabrics like challis, silk, washed things, you know, crinkle rayon, things that are going to drape really nicely. But the sleeve calls for cotton, cotton blends, chambray, damask, things with a little bit of structure to them. And this is going to take a lot of fabric. It is, because this sleeve and the length on this. So I may not be able to do the length on this one, or maybe I can do kind of approaching that T length, but not quite that long. Maxi dresses are all the rage this year, so I don't know. So I've pulled out this rayon challis that I have, and I like it. I don't love it. And the more I think about it, the more I think this isn't going to work. It's not going to work for that sleeve, because that sleeve is the star of that outfit, of that dress. It's going to be the star of the show, and I don't think that there's enough body to this fabric to really do justice to that sleeve. I think you would lose the pleats, you would lose the volume, you'd lose everything. So instead, I'm also thinking about this linen. I got this at the sewing studio last year when I was there for the Sewing Expo, or maybe it was in July. They were having a huge sale. And I remember thinking, yeah, that linen is gorgeous. And it was expensive linen, and I know it's beautiful, and you know, it'll work. It is relatively soft. It's this, let me back up. You can really get a better sense of the yellow. It's like a very pale pastel yellow, but I think it would work. So, you know, as I look at it, I'm thinking, that might make a really pretty Easter dress. So the wheels are turning there. I think that's pretty much it for all the wheels turning. Moving on to non-problem solving things. You all had such great, wonderful comments last week on the question of the week, which was, if you could upgrade your sewing machine and money were no object, you could have anything you want, what would you do? And I talked about how I wanted to stick with mine. I got so many people who said, my machine is 30 years old, it's 40 years old, you know, I've had it since the early 2000s. I love my machine. It does everything I want. I don't want to upgrade. I was so impressed. And I have to tell you, you need to go read those comments. I will link that video up here in the cards, and I'll also link it in the description box below. But you have got to go read those comments, because so many referred to machines that are just gems that nobody knows about because they're older. They're, 20, 30, 40 years old, but they're incredible machines that you can look on eBay and find one. You can talk to your dealer and maybe he's had one traded in. Such good information. You gotta go read those comments. You will gain wisdom, trust me. I mentioned a sew along for my color blocked top. I did film the whole thing. The footage is, you know what? I watched a sew along from Brittany J. Jones. Now that woman makes beautiful clothing and she knows how to do a sew along. And I was looking at hers and thinking, oh my goodness, we always compare ourselves, but I just don't do them well. I haven't done enough of them to do them well, but I'm working with that footage and I think I may be able to come up with something. So I just say this because I don't want to have said, oh, there's a sew along coming and then there not be one. I'll keep you posted. Two more quick things. First of all, there is a sewing expo that is going to happen over St. Patrick's Day, March, at the RP Funding Center in Lakeland, Florida. This is a lot of quilting, but it's also a lot of classes, like workshop classes, where you can learn about fitting, you can learn about techniques, you can learn about how to use your serger or your embroidery machine and ways to make your sewing easier and more fun. There are, classes where you actually make something, you make a bag, you make a top, you make, all kinds of things. So I would strongly encourage you, if you're anywhere within the vicinity and can get there, you should. Also, there are a group of us, Friday sewers, here in Florida, and Maddie from Maddie Sews, by the way, go watch her videos, she's amazing, who is flying in, and then Andra from Andra Makes is coming down from Tennessee. There are all kinds of people who are going to be there. Carol from Sew Carol is coming from England. So it's a great place to go because Walt Disney World is not very far. It's less than an hour away from there. So if you just wanted to wrap it into a vacation, you could. But I say all this because a group of us are going to have kind of a meet and greet on Friday, the 17th of March, in the lobby of the RP Funding Center. I'm going to give you a little map right here and kind of point to where it's going to be. There are a couple of exhibit halls, and so it's right outside one of them. It's right across from the registration desk. It's easy to find. You see it as you walk in the door, and I would love to meet you. Actually, we would all love to meet you, but as many people as we can get to know while we're there. We really, all of us want to. And we're all talking about the expo like, oh, we can't wait, we can't wait. Actually, Izzy from Dizzy's Quilts and Sews is going to make a vacation of it with her daughter, and she's going to fly down from Canada, from Montreal. See, I'm so excited. I'm so excited to see everyone, but I'm also excited to meet people that I've never met before that I only know from YouTube. And oh, it's going to be fantastic. It's going to be great. Okay, so that was one thing. The other thing is, for the month of February, it's all about love, isn't it? Valentine's Day happens, and it's a short month, and I just think it's all about love. So I have two things. The first thing is our question for this week, which is, what do you love about sewing? Now, see, I want to hear from you in the comments because you always have such great answers. I love to create. I absolutely adore the fact my main avenue of creativity is in this room. This is my happy place. If my sewing machine were on my dining room table, it would be there. I have a college roommate who used to say, it was the most amazing thing. They called me Jenny back then. Jenny would sit down with a pattern and fabric in the evening, and when I would get up the next morning, there would be a dress. That idea that I can come in here and make something out of just a few things, I love that. I love that. I love taking a pattern, two patterns, putting them together and making something stunning, making something beautiful. It just, oh, that's what I love about sewing. There are a lot of hard things about sewing. It's like a puzzle. A lot of times it's difficult to figure out how you're going to accomplish that, like I was saying earlier. But that's part of the fun of it for me. I love solving those problems. Yeah, as much as I've got problems to solve, I love doing it. There is a joy in that when you finish what you're doing, like that sense of accomplishment that you get. I walk in here, I see fabric, I can wash it and dry it, and then I can cut it with a pattern, I can sew it, and I have something beautiful. Oh my goodness, the sense of accomplishment right there. The way it feeds your self-esteem, the way it feeds your soul, my soul, that's what I love about sewing. That's why I love sewing. I'm so grateful that my mom taught me to do it when I was 9 years old. I have never lost the love for it. So the love for the craft. Okay, so that's one thing that I wanted to leave you with. The second thing is, because this is the month of love, you all know how much I love the pattern Simplicity 8640. Well, I have 4. I'm pretty sure there are 4 weeks in February. So each week I want to give one of these away. I don't care where you live in the world, I will send it to you if you are the one that the random number generator picks from the comments for that week. So I'm going to give one away each week in February, each Friday in February. And what I'll do is the Friday after, like this one, like next Friday, I will tell you who won one of them. I'm excited about that. I love this pattern so much. I just think it's the consummate, beautiful dress that anybody can make. You can do whatever you want to it. You can make it out of a knit. You can make it out of a solid, a print, a woven. You can do all kinds of, pretty much any kind of sleeve you want. You can do it sleeveless. You can do the hem all kinds of ways. It's a wonderful pattern. It flatters everybody. So I'm excited about that. So you don't have to do anything. You don't have to be a subscriber. You don't have to, nothing. You don't have to. You just need to leave me a comment. Okay, that's it for Friday Sews this week. Boy, that was a lot, wasn't it? I want to always say thank you for being here, spending time out of your day to watch this video. I know it's long. And I just let you know how much I appreciate you. I really do. This is a part of my life that also feeds my soul. Not as much as sewing, but it still does. I've gotten to know so many of you, and I'm so grateful. So thank you for watching. I will be back soon or next time, and I will leave you with my favorite verse. Do justice, love mercy, be merciful, and walk humbly with your God. Know that He is God, and that you are you, and that He made you, and you are the apple of His eye. I'll see you next time.